Good evening, campers, dreamers, and babysitters, and welcome back to another edition of The Scenes That Scarred Us, where we break down the scenes from horror movies that live in your mind rent free. I've titled this chapter Because You Were Home from the 2008 film The Strangers. As always, if you like what I'm doing with this series and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button as well as give this video a like and a share if you feel it deserves it. So without further ado, let's get strange and find out what's going on in 2008's The Strangers. The Strangers is one of those horror films that haunted the playground for me growing up. All of us kids knew about the film, or at least had seen the poster for it. I can vividly remember kids passing along stories about how the film is based off of real killings, and how the strangers were real people. Although they may have been speaking more literally, the whispers and rumors about the movie do hold some nuggets of truth. Writer-director Brian Bartino has stated his inspirations for The Strangers came from a few different real-life events. The main ones being the Manson family murders, along with an experience he had growing up. As a young teen, Brian and his siblings were home alone one evening when an unknown individual came knocking at their door. Brian's sister answered and was asked if someone they did not recognize was living there. Brian's sister told them no, and the unknown individual walked off. Brian would later find out that a string of burglaries were going on in his neighborhood, with the burglars specifically targeting houses where no one was home. The idea that Brian and his siblings came face to face with some of those burglars is honestly truly traumatizing. So much so that it inspired him to write this film and later go on to direct it. When thinking back on this film, there's a lot of key sequences that could have taken this spot in this chapter. For me, though, there is only one scene that fully delivers on not only the message of the film, but the horror as well, and that just so happens to be the final sequence. But before we dive into that climactic ending, we gotta talk about the events leading up to it, of course. After returning from a wedding reception, James Hoyt and Kristen McKay retreat to their isolated vacation home for what is sure to be an awkward evening after James' surprise proposal was rejected. It's not long after they arrive that the couple receives a knock on the door, and this seemingly random mix-up will kick off a violent and methodical home invasion by 3 masked strangers. After a long night of creeping, stalking, and even some friendly fire, the film all comes to a head when dawn begins to break. We now see the strangers looming over Kristen and James, who are now tied to the chairs in the living room, unsure of what is to come next. Kristen cries and asks the question we are all asking: why are you doing this? To which the killer, known only as Dollface, emotionlessly replies,
"'Cause you were home."
Each of the villains then remove their masks, but not for the audience. This reveal is only for poor James and Kristen, who now clearly understand their true fates. The 3 strangers then take turns viciously stabbing both James and Kristen till they are nothing more than seemingly lifeless corpses. We then watch as the 3 strangers hop in their pickup truck as they drive down the road, free to kill again. I firmly believe that what makes this scene so impactful for audiences just comes down to the pure finality of it. We have watched as this couple has been terrorized for the last 90 minutes. And now, with nowhere left to go and no way out, they are at the complete mercy of our strangers. The part that really gets me is the way that director Brian Bartino chooses to frame these final moments. By having our killers remove their masks, but choosing not to show the audience their faces. I firmly believe that this plays on the same elements of fear that John Carpenter was trying to achieve with the original Halloween. It's not about who's under the mask, it's just the pure evil and sadistic nature of the event. Couple this with the iconic and chilling explanation from Dollface of why they're doing this. No long lost brothers, no supernatural manipulation, just bad luck and chance. Hey, what's going on, guys? Yeah, Editor Dylan here, just wanted to pop in and say that Luke and I actually got a chance to hop over to our buddy Killjoy Jake's channel to discuss The Strangers on a live stream. And it was actually during that live stream that Jake made a really cool point about the next piece that I'm going to bring up in this video. But I did not want to sit here and take all the credit for it. Obviously, this was his theory, his point, something that he audibly made the observation of as we were discussing it, and I did say that I would credit him in the video. So this is that. If you guys are not familiar with Killjoy Jake, what are you doing? Go over there, hit that subscribe button. Super cool dude. And our Strangers discussion is live on his channel right now, so you guys can go and check that out. It's pretty cool. So after this video, go ahead, pop over there, watch that video, and subscribe. Anyway, back to the video. Just the look that Sackhead gives to Dollface when she explains their reasoning is full of layers. His almost confused and surprised head turn at the fact that she's even speaking to their victims clearly shows that this isn't some grand plan executed after months of preparation. Another small detail that I took away from my most recent viewing of this film comes down to why the killers took their masks off. They could walk away at any moment and leave the couple be. The likelihood of any of them being found out is slim to none based off their descriptions alone. But by removing their masks and showing their faces, this gives them a reason to kill the couple. Now they've seen them. They can't risk any of them getting away and telling the police their descriptions. It's a small symbolic piece of visual storytelling that, as a horror thriller fan, I just absolutely fell in love with. In fact, Brian Bartino does an excellent job of telling his story through visuals rather than just exposition dumps throughout the entire film. The film was primarily shot using handheld and Steadicam rigs to help give it more of a frantic and grounded look. This is a common choice for many low-budget filmmakers to add a sense of depth to, but it can easily backfire if not used at the right moments. The final shot being one of the best uses for it to add the voyeuristic nature of what we're witnessing as an audience. The color and lighting that they chose to use for the film also presents an interesting trick of the mind. The house is filled with yellow and amber colored tones, accented by a few white walls here and there. Brian Bartino and his team wanted to give the film a sense of warmth and coziness. This looks like a place that you would enjoy staying at for a weekend getaway. It's meant to disarm the viewer and continue to add those elements of unpredictability. Visually, your brain is trained to understand that this means safety when watching a horror film. So if that's a constant element throughout our movie, and our characters are being attacked nonetheless, you have a recipe for something that is truly earned when impactful scares come along. In conclusion, The Strangers isn't a film that's just close to home. This is a film that truly is your home. Once again, we aren't dealing with supernatural forces, scientific experiments gone wrong, or a being from another world. We're forced to watch characters face a threat that is completely in the realm of reality. Throughout the entire film, we have to see our characters doing all they can to find a way out of this nightmare, and nothing they did was enough. Now they're firmly planted in front of our killers, and the only reason they can give for them is they were home. The Strangers is a chilling and gruesome film that holds up surprisingly well. With this new reboot prequel trilogy starting later this month, only time will tell if they have the restraint and precision to pull back and let the brilliance of this first film's brutality shine through. So that brings us to the end of Chapter 2 of The Scenes That Scarred Us. And don't worry, I'll be taking a look at Strangers Prey at Night once we get a little bit closer to the release of The Strangers Chapter 2. But until then, I want to hear from you guys. What are the scenes that scarred you, horror fans? And comment your thoughts down below, and remember, stay scared.
The horror shit gonna do it live, cause Splattercast kick it every day they live. Splattercast gonna slash your ass. 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 Splattercast gonna slash your ass.